manipulation, and this is osteopathic manipulation, but there's chiropractic as well that can help align the pelvic structure, back, neck. All of this is helpful in outcomes. Okay, so pelvic manipulation and, pelvic manipulation really does help to help mobility within the pregnant body, helps release areas of restriction because, as you moms know better than me, sometimes you get tight, some things loosen up, right? And some things are quite imbalanced. Okay, some of you have gone through painful pregnancies, back pain, hip pain, so this helps reduce that. And most importantly, it helps improve the parturition aspect, so getting that baby out. You can read this on the website. That too. We often go to a chiropractor or a DO because we're in pain, right? We just need an adjustment. Well, it's no different during pregnancy, and this is highly, it's helpful to relieve some of those pains, and it's just fine to do some of these manipulations during pregnancy. I mean, there are certain methods, certain modalities that may not be helpful, but there are certainly many that can be done by a trained practitioner. So, improving labor and, like I said, getting the baby out. So when my main point is if you align the pelvic structures, the musculature, the uterine muscles contract together, the muscles of the pelvic floor relax symmetrically, you will have a more efficient delivery, okay? This is good for baby too, good for mom's perineum, good for, like I said, babies, better APGAR scores, or at least, or how the baby is doing when it comes out, whether it's breathing, its color, its responsiveness, and just better maternal outcomes altogether. Just pictures the pelvic floor muscles. And there are some exercises. There's a video that will be embedded in the presentation when you access it online that shows how, just as a couple, you can do this daily if you'd like to keep things as aligned as possible. And then there's several other things. Now, I'm going to let Sariah take it away from here.
Okay, I guess I will jump into the function of Kegels during pregnancy. Ooh, get in the back of mic too. Okay, I'm sure all you ladies have heard of Kegel exercises and you know how to perform Kegel exercises. There's not really a good way to demonstrate those. So as you can see, we've got reduced chances of postpartum incontinence, we've got strengthened pelvic floor, and reduced chances of perineal tearing, which obviously very great outcomes. That's something you definitely want. Just got a little diagram of home exercises to align the pelvis and strengthen the pelvic floor. All right, and I guess it's worth mentioning the sacredness of childbirth. And that is present in the cervix, which acts as a spiritual conduit into a mortal form, an immortal existence. The placenta, which delivers sustenance and life to a fetus, actually mimics a tree of life across, multiple cultures. And bringing life into the world is a purely feminine duty. First of all, because women are the ones actually delivering the babies. And secondly, because it is our understanding that the mother stands at the gate of new lives entering into a mortal plane. So next, we've got the mind-body connection during labor and birth. Your body, while you're, laboring and delivering, is very much interconnected with your state of mind. And so to improve your birth outcome, we really try to implement, I as a doula really try to implement the 3 R's, which are relaxation, rhythm, and ritual. And that is the best way to ensure a smooth, clean, stress-free, uncomplicated delivery. The Sphincter law, I will get into that on the next slide. Your emotional state affects your physical functionality much more than Western medicine is willing to admit. So the Sphincter law is present in all mammals. It was originally identified by Ina May Gaskin, who is considered the nation's leading midwife. Basically, if someone were to clap their hands in front of your face, on instinct you'd flinch. And that is because every orifice on your body that opens and shuts is considered a sphincter, and they are all interconnected. So if one of them isn't relaxed, then none of them can relax. And this is very applicable towards childbirth, because in order to open both the cervix and the vaginal opening, all the rest of your body has to be completely relaxed and in a safe place. It's actually been observed in... Hello? There we go. It's actually been observed in animals in nature, such as... Sorry, it keeps cutting out. I guess I'll switch to this one. Okay, so for example, if there was a rabbit giving birth in the woods and there was a wolf nearby, and let's say the rabbit is fully effaced, fully dilated, ready to push, she will suck those babies back in, her dilation will reverse, and she will get to safety before she can push out her babies. And this trend has been observed in all other mammals, including humans. And so why aren't we implementing that, in regular hospital Western birth? Next, I will touch on the difference between pain and suffering. It is very widely known knowledge that childbirth is one of the most painful things a human can go through. The thing is, it does not have to be painful. There are some instances where people don't experience any pain during their labor. And of course, in cases where labor does cause pain, that doesn't mean you have to suffer. The pain associated with labor and birth is very much a functional pain rather than an invasive pain. And it becomes much more manageable with the support of, a doula, a midwife, people close to you. And natural pain management methods can be just as effective as our modern Western pain management methods. Okay, so fetal position very much affects your outcome from your birth. I'm going to switch back to this one, sorry. Hello? No, just kidding. You can see that this is occiput anterior, which means the back of the baby's head is to the mother's stomach. That is the most optimal position for birth because that is the smoothest entry into the pelvis and through the vaginal canal. Occiput posterior is generally the fetal position that tends to cause back labor, which is extraordinarily painful. There are ways to spin a malpresenting baby into a more optimal position. And a lot of that actually does have to do with pelvic alignment and adjusting that pelvic floor and just making sure everything is structurally sound. And this is our last slide. So there's a common misconception, especially in Western birth, that you can make a baby that won't fit through your pelvis. There are special cases where maybe something is wrong, but generally, a woman's body is designed to both create and birth that baby. Our pelvis is designed a very specific way. So more likely than not, that's actually just an excuse to push more interventions. There is not an accurate way to measure a fetus or the opening on your pelvis, and so there isn't a plausible way a doctor could even know if your baby is too big to come out. Also, the baby, when in an optimal position for birth, is designed to flip and squeeze and twist in a way that, every part of it that is coming through your pelvis is as small as it can possibly be. And that's all we have for that, so thank you.